A 14-year-old Palestinian girl has been killed during heavy clashes between Israeli troops and Palestinian fighters in Gaza. The girl is thought to be the daughter of a local Hamas leader, and medics say she was killed when an Israeli missile hit her house in the town of Beit Lahia. Her death comes as Israeli incursions into Gaza continue despite Hamas's offer of a 6-month truce.
This is the body of Miriam, a 14-year-old girl who doctors say was killed in her own home by an Israeli missile. She is the latest casualty of ongoing Israeli military operations inside the Gaza Strip. Early this morning, under the cover of darkness, Israeli forces entered Gaza to detain Hassan Maruf, a local Hamas leader. But Palestinian fighters put up resistance and heavy clashes ensued. As the operation continued, Israel says it launched 2 air raids against what it calls armed elements. But at least one of the missiles hit Hassan Maruf's home, with his daughter Miriam inside. His daughter dead, Maruf is now in Israeli custody. 7 other Palestinians were injured in the air raids, 3 of them in critical condition. The raid is a clear signal to Hamas that its offer of a 6-month truce is of little interest to Israel. Hamas had offered to end its rocket attacks into Israel if Israel in return eased its economic blockade of Gaza and ended its military incursions into the Strip. But yesterday the Israeli government rejected the offer, insisting that it would continue to act to protect its citizens. Hassan Ghani, Islam Channel News.
Well, as the violence continues between Palestinians and Israelis, doubts are emerging on the peace process and those who are heading it. Recent polls have shown that the popularity of Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas and Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Olmert have slumped. Islam Channel News now looks at some of the reasons why. These are the 2 men that many world leaders are relying upon to bring an end to a bitter conflict that's been raging for decades. Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Olmert and Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas both have the backing of the US, which has been mediating between the 2 in hope that peace can be achieved. But how much hope do their own people have in them? According to recent polls, it seems not much. The popularity of both leaders has slumped, along with confidence in their ability to achieve peace between Palestinians and Israelis. Peace talks between the 2 have so far made little progress. In some instances, one side may not even attend in protest over a certain issue. And even when the talks do go ahead, they're often overshadowed by Israel's ongoing blockade and incursion into the Gaza Strip, or attacks by Palestinian resistance fighters. This has frustrated those on the ground, especially Gaza's 1.5 million residents, who for the last 4 months now have been living in what's been described by many as an open-air prison. Fuel supplies have been severely restricted by the Zionist state, and due to this, yesterday the UN in Gaza announced it had stopped its relief work, which more than 1 million people rely upon. And further causing tension is Israel's refusal to end its expansion of settlements in the occupied West Bank, which are deemed illegal under international law. With all these key factors still unresolved, and the popularity of both men at an all-time low, peace, it seems, is still a distant prospect.